Hello, I am the Irish guy, and I've already said it a million times. I think Todd Boehly is an erratic madman who, in the comfort of his own home, is probably a cross between the Joker and the demented Jim Carrey. I would not be surprised if he microwaves his cat, if he dons a teddy bear onesie, smears toothpaste in his eyes, and asks his wife if she can sing the entire Shrek soundtrack before bed. I have always thought that this man, despite looking like somebody whose mortal enemy is a treadmill, I've always thought that this guy was rotten for Chelsea and was going to eventually destroy the club. Chelsea have now spent over £1 billion since Boehly joined the club. $1 billion. There's nobody to understand just how gigantic that sum of money is. I mean, sure, eventually in about 10 years, it'll probably just be the standard check that Mr. Beast spends on a video. I just bought Africa and made my mom the queen. Lads, Chelsea have triggered a £35 million release clause for Michael Olise, but this is not the flex they think it is. Don't get me wrong, this is a 21-year-old attacking midfielder who has got skills for days. Crystal Palace have molded this guy into a mini Ronald DDO. This man's mere existence is the reason why the Palace fans aren't trembling like petrified little pigs now that Wilfred Zaha has ditched them for Turkey. Yeah, even that must feel like a slap in the face. At least when he quit them the first time, he was dumping them for the biggest club in England, persuaded by the greatest manager of all time. They could make their peace with that. In the same way you could probably understand your wife having an affair with Brad Pitt, but going to Galatasaray is a bit like her sharing a sloppy kiss with her own granddad in an airport terminal. Anyway, Olise was the only reason that Palace fans were holding it together all summer. He was the only reason they weren't now taking compassionate leave from work to spend the entire week watching Bridget Jones on the couch and shoving vanilla ice cream in their gob. But this just stinks of Manchester United buying Paul Pogba, which is just ironic because they unveiled him with some music from a guy called Michael. So when Olise gets unveiled at Stamford Bridge, is this bloke just going to be strumming the guitar in the corner, singing a sad version of Yesterday? But yeah, Man United thought the world was impressed when they were paying £90 million for Paul Pogba. But no, because you had him in your academy for free. It was embarrassing that you'd let him go. And similarly, Olise was already at Chelsea for 7 years, from 2009 to 2016, after they'd pinched him from Arsenal. I mean, do Chelsea think there's something funny about a host of their academy superstars playing for other clubs? If they had paid £100 million for Declan Rice in the summer, I would be saying the exact same thing, that it was about as embarrassing as admitting that you actually fancy chickens. Chelsea tried to bring Nathan Ake back to Stamford Bridge last summer after realizing they were wrong to bid him after just 7 games, and Man City charged them 50 million beans. Chelsea said no, and he just went and won the treble instead, playing over 40 games and proving that everybody who thought he was just the Dutch David Luiz at Chelsea, I guess they really did have milkshakes for brains. And I'm pretty sure the youth coaches who let Jamal Musiala slip out the door, oh, they've probably since been whacked by the London Mafia. What annoys me about these Chelsea transfers is that they effectively just delete another Chelsea player's career. For example, I think Noni Madueke is already done at Stamford Bridge. He's into just the 9th month of a 7.5-year contract, and he's already surplus to requirements. He is the exact same type of player as Olise, literally a carbon copy. An attacking midfielder slash winger who is also a teenage star in the London Academy scene. Olise is a France under-21 international. Madueke is an England under-21 international. He's already been replaced. It's like 3 weeks after your honeymoon, you're already sleeping on the couch with your wife tucked in bed with someone who looks like Justin Bieber. Chelsea are very quickly turning into the X Factor, because every 12 months, the previous winner would already be out of date, just replaced by the latest pretend pop star with fuzzy hair. Honestly, do you think anyone but his mum cared about Shane Ward after 2006? Olise will sign an 8-year deal at Stamford Bridge. But what's the point when he's going to be replaced next summer by another clone of him? Give it 9 months and suddenly Boehly will be bored of Michael. He will look at him the same way you'd look at Owen Wilson when you see him in a film. Just roll your eyes and yawn. I mean, Olise is a baller, yes, but I mean, his name is Michael. It's the most boring name on planet Earth. In 2024, Olise will be getting shoved down the pecking order and replaced by the latest whiz kid on the market, like Ryan Cherky, Jeremy Pino, or Florian Wirtz. But lads, why are Chelsea winning the race for these youngsters? Why? They're like that weird fella who waits in a van outside your kid's primary school, armed with a full tub of ice cream and a Pikachu doll. Because Olise was courted by Man City this summer too, another one of his former academy clubs. And as mental as it sounds, if I'm Olise, I am actually backing myself to get more game time at the treble winners than the team who just finished 12th. I know it sounds ludicrous, but Man City have just sold Riyad Mahrez. There is a gap in their squad for them to bring through an audacious, skillful maverick like Olise. But with Chelsea, you've got Sterling, Mudryk, Madueke, Nkunku, Andre Santos, Chukwuemeka, Hudson-Odoi, Gallagher, any of whom can occupy the 2 number 10 positions in Pochettino's 3-4-2-1 formation. Again, I'm confused why Romeo Lavia has chosen Chelsea too. I mean, sure, maybe Lavia loves the London life, mate, but he would have walked into the Liverpool 11. There is a huge welcoming hole in that midfield perfectly made for him. Plus, they can actually guarantee him European football this season. So Lavia could realistically have played between 50 to 60 games in his debut year. But going to Chelsea, there's only 2 centre mid positions up for grabs in Poch ball. And the club just so happens to now have 2 £100 million plus CMs. What does he think is going to happen? Enzo and Caicedo, alongside ex-Chelsea potato Declan Rice, are the 2 most expensive centre midfielders in the history of the sport. If there's one club you should not sign for now as an aspiring 19-year-old, off the back of a demoralizing relegation, then it is Chelsea. I mean, is it really worth it, Romeo? Just so you can shop in Camden, buy a house next to Kate Winslet, and drink in Gandalf's pub? Why are these youngsters choosing Chelsea? I think I know. The monstrously long contracts. These 8-year contracts are guaranteeing your future. It just takes the pressure off, which is a completely bad thing. As KSI would say in his poetic love songs, pressure makes diamonds. Alright, maybe that was a line out of James Bond. Even still, even the elite world stars need some level of insecurity. Give them a 4-year contract on £150,000 a week. Great. Make them work for the next contract, because they know that if they do let the demons on their shoulders in, and if they just wind up being an absolutely pudding flop, then there is a clock. Because if they really do go off the rails, if they're kicked out of nightclubs 5 times a week, slurping expired hamburgers off the edge of bins in the street, then in 4 years' time, they're unemployed. But at Chelsea, these 8 and 9-year deals breed comfort. I think giving someone like Olise, someone who looks like a languid, laid-back midfielder, giving him a 9-year deal is the worst possible thing you could do. He is then guaranteed to have a highly paid job at a top European club for the rest of his 20s. He's done. He can just give up. If you watch him play, he's got all the talent in the world, but he's got the natural work rate of a pregnant jellyfish. He was passed around academy clubs for a reason. One thing you don't want to do is breed another Zaha, someone who spent his entire career living in a comfort zone bubble. I don't want to see Olise let the fame go to his head, get lost in the Chelsea reserves, and just spend his mid to late 20s opening London fashion brands, DJing in Greece, and chilling with chunks. Lads, if Manchester United had given an 8-year contract to Cristiano Ronaldo in 2003, it wouldn't really have made a difference because he was driven by his own personal goals. But imagine if Ross Barkley had been given a 9-year deal at Manchester United in 2015. The pressure will be off. Within 18 months, you would have had a beer belly on par with Santa Claus. Imagine if Chelsea had given a young Neymar an 8.5-year deal in 2010. You'd have created an apathetic monster who turns up to every training session late, hungover, and still with his sister's lipstick on his mouth. You'd have created another Robinho. Olise is the type of player who needs a kick of the bum, not the security of wealth. I mean, Chelsea signed both Caicedo and Lavia in midfield, right? Well, if you want to talk about actually dodgy DMs, this was Olise a few years ago.
Hey, hun X. Hey, what's your snap X? I don't really use SCTBH, ha ha. Do you play for Reading? Yeah. Not for long though, X.
Oh Christ, this feels too creepy. I'm literally monitoring a conversation between 2 hormonal teens. I feel like Mark Zuckerberg, who's probably just 1 app away from spying on sleepovers and begging for a pillow fight.
Moving to the Prem in the summer. You single, X? Yeah, how comes you leaving Reading? I've just moved down there, X. I'm on bigger things, B. Won't catch me playing for a small championship team for too long. Ha 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 ha, X.
You're giving this guy an 8-year contract. Someone who thought he was too good for the championship at 19. Yeah, he gives me Zaha vibes. When he was the same age and in the championship, he said this.
Unless I'm looking at Ronaldo or Messi, I'd never look at someone else and think he's better than me.
And he went on to have a career of comfort where he didn't push himself.
Last season, Gulli de Prado of Southampton grabbed me and said, respect me. I thought, why should I respect you? I don't know you.
I don't know you, so I won't respect you. Who does that remind you of?
Like at that time, it's like I didn't have respect for you. Why? Because I don't know you.
Yes, Jake Paul.
Against Blackburn a couple of weeks ago, Colin Kazim-Richards tried to get into my head. He went through me and after that said, you'll have to be sharper than that, lad. I thought, shut up, fool. It even happens before games now. Brighton's manager Gus Poyet said, Will Buckley is better than me. But I don't see the point of coming out with nonsense like that.
That was Zaha in the championship. Speaking like Conor McGregor, it's Olise vibes. Straight up, that is what it is. An 8-year contract will destroy Olise and his hunger for the sport. Todd Boehly thinks he's clever, but he's not. Mauricio Pochettino was a good pick as manager, yes, but Graham Potter was not. I reckon if Boehly had joined Chelsea 18 months earlier, he would have gone for the American theme and just made Jesse Marsh manager. You know, the junior Bob Bradley. It's just, by the time Boehly had joined Chelsea, Marsh was already embarrassing himself at Leeds, but honestly, it would have been Todd and Jesse. Stamford Bridge would have been turned into season 5 of Breaking Bad. The Chelsea recruitment drive of playing over the odds for players, it's not clever. It is stupid. I know people are purring over Enzo Fernandez now, but I don't care that the man did cost £100 million. No. If Chelsea were really clever, they would have taken both Bruno Guimaraes and Lucas Paqueta out of Lyon together for a fee of what? Around £90 million? Essentially the chunk of cash they pay for Paqueta Mudryk, that Draco Malfoy look-alike who just eats custard creams on the bench. I'm sorry, but both Bruno and Paqueta are going to be competing for English clubs in the Champions League this season, and Chelsea didn't even glance at either one. I mean, 22-year-old French centre-back Benoit Badiashile, he signed a 7.5-year contract at Chelsea, but guess what? He gets injured, left out of the Champions League squad, and less than the length of a pregnancy later, he's already been replaced by Axel Dizazi, his former Monaco teammate, and he's got 7 years at Chelsea left. There's no plan to Chelsea strategy. They just buy player after player after player. To prove it, look at all the players they tried and failed to sign on Boehly's watch last summer. They even had talks with the representatives of Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm sorry, but in the space of 12 months, how do you go from sniffing out Ronaldo to then buying Nicholas Jackson, the polar opposite sort of striker? I mean, 22 years old, pacey, nimble, and nobody really knows who he is? Honestly, Ronaldo would get mobbed by thousands just trying to take his son for a birthday party at Burger King. Jackson could literally stand naked on the London Tube and nobody would look up from the magazine. Ever since Boehly came to town just a little over a year ago, if you add up the contracts he's given the players and managers, they work out to be a combined 160 years. What? I mean, if I'm Pochettino, I'm probably offended. I've only been offered a deal until 2026 because 160 years of combined commitment. Wow. The tale of Winston Bogart is probably a ghost story told around Chelsea's training ground. But this is a guy who was handed a 4-year contract at Chelsea in 2000, having been part of Ajax's Champions League winning squad in 1995. But he was rubbish. He was on a monstrously high £40,000 a week deal. To put it in context, Roy Keane was on 52 grand a week, and he was the highest paid player in the league. Bogart didn't play, but he didn't leave. There were even rumours that he didn't even live in London and just flew in from Amsterdam 3 days a week for training. Lads, heed these words from Winston Bogart.
The world is about money, so when you're offered those millions, you take them. Few people will ever earn so many. I am one of the few fortunates who do. I may be one of the worst buys in the history of the Premiership, but I don't care.
I think somebody should carve that phrase on a plaque and hang it above Boehly's bed. This is what long contracts do to some footballers. Not all, but some. Some players can benefit from the security of a long contract, but some can be poisoned by them. And I think Olise will be one of them. This whole Chelsea business, it's not smart. It's not clever. It's going to destroy your club. Anyway, that's the interview. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Right? Let me know how do you think these players will do? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a like. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.